Ted. From Ted, like
Exactly.
Pep could tap in and actually like potentially go like unbeaten. Like,
He could. So you know. Yo guys, and welcome back to another video on TFW. Today we're going to be discussing Man City. Previously we've discussed, Liverpool and, their end to the season, and now we're going to have a look at what would happen potentially if Man City did not win any trophy at the end of the season. They're in the running for the Premier League. They're the favourites there, if we're honest. And they're also in another FA Cup final, another, Manchester derby.
It's not really a derby though, is it? And it's gone.
Unprovoked, like so unprovoked.
That's even the video.
That could go either way. But if Pep does fail to achieve those targets at the end of the season, where do we kind of go for Man City? What's your thoughts, guys?
You know what? I think it's business as usual. I think it's business as usual. And if that does happen, I'm very scared for next year. Yeah. Because next year they could probably do Centurions again.
Like stronger.
Yeah. You think so?
Yeah. Pep is a supervillain. Like everyone's seen the Netflix documentary. This guy is talking to spirits in training. This is not a man you want to deny. This is a man you don't want to rob of glory. So I don't know. I don't think anything major happens. I think he'll still stay. But I think it might be his last year if they don't win the trophy.
Next year might be the last year.
I think next year might be his last
Why?
season.
Because he knows people are catching up with him, or he knows he's done what he could here? Because there's a lot of things alluding to kind of this question and this conversation. If we look at the potential, charges that's coming, I think Pep will want to get out there and, have his name and, status solidified and his reputation before anything falls. So that might play a part into why he might potentially leave next season. But, Eric Ten Hag, he famously said when he came to England that era's come to an end. And he's somewhat right in the Klopp point. Well, as we know, Mids doesn't class it as an era anyway, but he's somewhat right in the Klopp point because Klopp's going to leave and he's probably not going to leave with another Prem. FA Cup's gone, knocked out of Europe. And
but they got the Carabao though.
They got the Carabao. Yeah. I can't even laugh because Chelsea lost. But then we move on to, Pep and Man City. If they fail to win it now and then Arsenal do manage to get that, has an era really come to an end? Are we looking at a new...
I would say the era's come to an end no matter how we look at it, because it's going to change now.
Yeah.
And City have a new challenge in Arsenal instead of Liverpool.
Yeah.
Unless Liverpool, do well under their new manager next season. But so I think it will change in the sense of it won't be so heavily Man City like the way it's been for the last few years.
Yeah.
However, I don't think it will change in the sense of there'll be another club who ends up doing what Man City has done.
Yeah, not to that
I don't
extent.
think that will happen.
But I feel like it might potentially be a bit more of an open playing field.
Yeah,
and that's more entertaining for the entertaining for the league because, if I kind of maybe was a lot younger, so our view on it was a lot different. But when we look back to just before City became that dominant force under Pep, if we're looking,
so like 2010, 11-ish.
Yeah. If we look at when Sir Alex left to kind of around that 2017 was the first time they
won it.
Yeah. Chelsea could win it. We won 2 in that time. Leicester won the 1. City did grab 1 and then United grabbed it the last season where Sir Alex was there. So it's a lot of big teams were in for it. And that's when, Gerrard had the famous slip within that period, So Liverpool could have potentially won 1. That's where you're seeing like 4 teams maybe.
And I think that's what's going to happen again.
You think that's the route that will go down?
For the next 4 or 5 years, of course, City will still compete 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this season now. So they definitely will. However, I feel it's going to be a bit more of an open playing field. And then in the next 4 or 5 years, we could potentially see any club. Could be United, could be Chelsea, it could be Arsenal, could be City again, it could be Liverpool dominate for a few years.
It could even be Villa that could have a surprise.
Because I was going to say
because exactly, it's true because Newcastle and Villa are big clubs. No matter what we say, they've got a massive fan base. In recent times they haven't had much success, but More Villa, they have a very good manager there, and he didn't do that well at Arsenal, but we can see he's a good manager. And with Newcastle, the funds. There's a lot of funds.
I was gonna say, like, when you look at the end of this season, say for example City don't win the league and Arteta does win the league, Arsenal are only going to get better, and it pains for me to say because I hate Arsenal, but they're only going to get better. Arteta and Arsenal, they're going to just buy better players. They're going to boost their squad. They're going to go further in the Champions League, and players are going to want to come and be part of this thing. And I've got a couple stats from the last 5 years. So in the last 5 years, Arsenal finished 5th, 8th, 8th, 5th, and now 2nd. And then last season, and then this season,
Say that one more time.
5th, 8th, 8th, 5th, 2nd.
Okay, cool.
Right? Liverpool was 2nd, 1st, 3rd, 2nd, 5th. And then obviously this season, I haven't counted this season.
Yeah.
United 6th, 3rd, 2nd, 6th, and 3rd. And then Newcastle are just progressively getting better over the years.
Yeah.
So you can see that I know like those clubs that I mentioned haven't had a clean trajectory, just getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
But you can see that it is becoming more narrow in terms of Arteta's getting Arsenal to become title challengers. Newcastle's getting better. United's in a transition period, but we're trying to build something up. So clear to what you guys are saying, it is going to become a more competitive league, and I don't think it's going to be as easy for City to just continue dominating. But again, I don't think it's going to be a complete shift. City will still be great, but I just think these other teams, like you guys mentioned, will just get better and better, and the competition's getting better. And I think it's good for the Premier League.
I think could open up. I think City depending on who they might replace Pep with, whether it's next season or the
If he
season
does
after.
go, yeah.
If he does go, I think it could potentially go to a thing where it's like Bayern Munich this season, where on paper they're the best team in the league. On paper they should be waxing the league, but it does open up for a team like Leverkusen. And in this instance, the Leverkusen is an Arsenal, a United, Liverpool, whatever, to sort of come through and be like, we don't care about if De Bruyne is still there, or if you have Haaland or Bernardo Silva or whatever. I think it opens up for a lot more. And me personally, I will love it.
Yeah, because I think it makes the league way more exciting.
It does, because
Way
what
more exciting.
because we call other leagues farmer leagues, but what City
We're the
have
farmers,
done,
bro.
yeah, what
We're
City
the
have done,
farmers.
like every time it comes to the running, like even this year we're saying it, like obviously Arsenal, cool, you and Liverpool both dropped points in the same week, where I think they lost to Palace, you lost to Villa. Was that on the same week? Yeah. When that happened, everyone just sighed and thought, well, I was happy.
I was
honest.
happy.
But
Everyone's like,
if you're looking at the
we
neutral
go
point of
again.
view for the entertainment factor, it's like, here we go again. We know business end of the season, City are gonna go and do it. Whereas if they don't win it this season, it could like open things up. But I also want to ask the question of, if they then go on and fail to win the FA Cup, City winning no trophy.
That will shock me more than them not winning the league. Because I think FA Cup final is a week after the Premier League ends. So I feel like a week after, if they do, I hope they do fail to win the league. A week after that sort of failure, if they can't bounce back, a team that is renowned for bouncing back against United, they're rivals. And I'm not even saying United in terms of like trying to downplay them or whatever. I'm saying in terms of a rival. And let's be real, United on a one-off game,
They could.
They could very well beat City. On a one-off game, they could potentially beat anyone.
How obviously cool. We're not rubbing out Pep if that happens, but how bad does that look though?
It does look bad. It's almost, I would say...
No trophy, because look at Bayern this year.
I think it's bad, but it's not... It can be forgiven.
Oh, 100%.
You've just won a treble.
Yeah.
Like, why is it... So what is it... And this is what Pep actually goes on about in his press conference, that the expectation now is like, wow, they won so much last season, so now they have to do it again and again. And that's great to have that expectation and to have those standards. But at the same time, like, they're going to fall off at some stage. Yeah. And if they go one season without winning the trophy, or with only winning the FA Cup, I think we can forgive them and be like, look, they're not going to do it every year. That's very difficult. But what they've done is difficult enough.
I hear what you're saying.
You know what? I just can't be... I don't like City, because City are this annoying team where it's like Thanos, but the click actually did happen. Like, he's inevitable. He's coming for us at the end of the day. And the one thing I don't like is his little mind games, because I can see it. If City win the league at the end, he's going to be like, that Arsenal team, that is so good, he's so special. But bro, like, have you seen yourself? Do you know what I mean? And I think, personally, I will love it if they don't win it. If they do win the FA Cup, again, even if they don't win it, I think it will be great for them, because I think it's a reality check. And I think all great teams need a reality check.
Yeah.
Do you think this Man City team can get better than they already are? Like, when you're looking around in world football, right? Say for example, they don't win the FA Cup, they don't win the Premier League. Who is that sign that they're gonna sign to make them win everything again? I don't think there is
Maybe they
that
could
sign.
tinker
it's not
it to make Haaland a bit better, if you get me.
They
Because I
can,
feel like,
they can coach
I
the
feel like
players
they
have.
play like
Yeah.
City, and then Haaland's just there just to finish
Yeah.
chances. But I feel like they can cater a team maybe better suited to Haaland.
Yeah, but that's in terms of their squad, in terms of coaching. But in terms of bringing people in, I think this is they've kind of
they
maxed
can.
out their greatest
No, no.
great players.
Once
You know what I'm saying?
Once Doku and Foden get even better, they will have that bit of like, they will have more special moments in their game. That sometimes their game becomes a bit boring, but once players like Doku, Foden can be given a bit more of a free role
Freedom.
and be trusted a bit more because they've had more experience, City can get even better.
Yeah, because you look at City were in for Declan Rice. If they got Declan Rice, oh my days,
Do you
what
know
happens
Craig,
then?
Rodri, Declan,
They're allegedly
De Bruyne-
in for Musiala. If a player like Musiala joins City, but people quote unquote say, yeah, Pep will kill his creativity, but bro, they will be dangerous.
And
You know?
do you know one thing about City? They buy players that we don't think they need, and then a year or two later, we're like, oh,
You learn why you need them.
Nathan Ake, 50 mil from Bournemouth. Everyone was like, why the hell would you spend 50 mil on Nathan Ake? There's so many other people you can get. But Pep is like, don't worry. 2 years' time, now look at Ake. Do you know what I mean? Same with people like Vardio and even that Sergio Gomez that he bought last year. Barely kicked the ball. But he's cooking. He's in the lab. He's working. And the next year, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the starting left back. And it's like, he's taking this new inverted road to now one converging left back. Man's there. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised. So I feel like they're always going to buy someone, and it's just a matter of. I think Pep signings are never for this season; they're always for the season after. So I feel like whoever he does buy in the summer, if they don't win, it's like don't worry. The team itself is getting better because I bought Gvardiol, because I bought Doku. Now, like you said, they've got a bit more experience. Now they can create more special moments. Meanwhile, I've got my man that I've just bought in the summer. Next year, we'll see him explode. So I think they can always. They're not a perfect team.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
And
seen.
then
that.
when we look past this season, again, if City don't win the Premier League or the FA Cup, we've got the Liverpool manager coming in, right?
Slot.
What does it say to like City? What does it say to Arsenal? What does Liverpool bring next season? Is it going to be a new challenge for City, or do they fall off a little bit?
I think they're gonna fall off a bit.
I think they're gonna fall
Wait,
off,
who,
and
City?
then
No.
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
So then the gap's gonna get a
praise
bit
for it.
bigger for that season. We can say for that season's gonna get big because Liverpool are the only. Well, obviously you guys, but other than you guys and Liverpool, I think the gap gets a bit bigger. So I think next season, if they don't win the FA Cup and Premier League this season, next season they're gonna like take revenge basically and just
Yeah, and I think just to kind of I guess wrap it up, that's the general consensus that all of us have.
Yeah.
Like if they do fail to do it this season, in my personal opinion, it will be quite bad. And we're looking at the scrutiny that we're giving Bayern Munich over there. You know, they basically didn't win the league. They got knocked out the cup early. They are still in the Champions League, but them failing to miss out on those 2 domestic trophies, it's not great. If City fail to do that, I'm not really impressed. But then next year, what the Premier League would have coming,
Do you know what?
we're in
Like,
big trouble.
as much as I want Arsenal to win the league, at what cost? like next year could be
Pep might say I'm staying for another 10. Another 10 maybe.
like
Exactly.
Pep could tap in and actually like potentially go like unbeaten. Like
He could. So you know, but that's our view on it. We love.
Bring it on. Sorry.
That's our view on it. We love to know what you guys think, you know, in the comments below. You know, as these guys always say, make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, follow on all social media. You know, we post a lot on TikTok, doing it on Twitter now, Instagram as well. So everyone's social media and all the links are in the description below. And as Raf says,
Tell a friend, tell a friend.
Peace.